Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Malik Jabari. I'm here with Masuzio Mahongo, Jordan Natchung, Max Schillenford. And today we're going to be talking about Netherlands transportation system. And also going to talk about the experimental methods and design that they've used to reduce their own traffic. On today's agenda, we'll state our problem statement. We'll talk about the background, how to evaluate traffic reduction, methods and analysis of walkability, bikeability of Netherlands, and modeling of highway traffic in the Netherlands. Also, we're going to talk about improving safety on the roads in the Netherlands, and then we're going to wrap it up with a summary of everything we talked about in the agenda. So our problem statement, we will address the problem of having too many vehicles on the roads. So more vehicles on the road equals more pollution, unless we have self-driving cars, but we're not there yet. So we're going to talk about our current situation right now. And so we want to reduce traffic, but how do we evaluate that? So we know that reducing traffic requires that we reduce vehicle demands on the road. And so we know the Netherlands, they've been able to reduce the demands for vehicles on the road by making their infrastructure more accommodating for alternative forms of travel, such as bicycle, walking, and public transportation. And so there's a caveat, though. We know that methods of reducing traffic in one country may not necessarily work in others, but we're confident that the methods used by the Netherlands will work for us because in terms of vehicles per capita, it's about the same as here in the United States. And also we know that by analyzing specific experimental designs and cases and methods of data collection, we can determine and evaluate certain specific interventions for improving traffic. So now I'm going to pass over this next slide to Masuzio. Masuzio will talk about walkability in the Netherlands. Take it, Masuzio.
Thanks, Malik. The walkability in the Netherlands, there was a study performed in 2020 by Zhongyang Wang and Dick Etma and Marco Helbig, who are all from the Netherlands, determining if environment impacts people's likelihood to walk for transportation or recreation. Next slide, please. They found that people walk as residential building density increased, transportation walking increased. They discovered that areas with too much vegetation reduced walking, as there were fewer reasons to walk through those areas. And of course, street internet connectivity increased walkability on all fronts. They also found a bunch of other findings, but that's what I'm going to highlight for right now. Next slide, please. So I focus more on the methods they use to determine walkability, because if you can understand how they determined a Netherlands current walkability parameters, they can apply it to you can apply the method to many other parameters such as vehicle use and such. The first thing I'm going to note is they had a massive data pool, over 60,000 respondents, and they categorized each area based on GPS. They used a normalized difference vegetation index to determine how green the area was. They also used, Denmark's designated land use categories and reduced it to just 5 general uses for the land in their areas. And then, of course, they collected data on age, education, and income, as well as the household composition and number of cars, e-bikes, and mopeds in these areas. Next slide, please. So they used a combination of qualitative and quantitative data gathering techniques. And these parameters could be tweaked to ask about driving patterns, not just walkability. And that would give us information about vehicle demand use. And of course, this would be the first step America has to do in order to determine if interventions or ways of reducing traffic are effective for America. Because understand that there are differences between the Netherlands and the United States. For one, the United States is massive. So the only way to determine if the methods used in the Netherlands are effective in America or in other places are to use data collection methods like this before and after these interventions are implemented. And that's all I have to talk to you about. I'm going to hand it off to Mac. He's going to tell you about the bikeability in Netherlands.
Thank you, Masuzio. Yeah, I'm just going to share some insight on the bikeability in the Netherlands, which is a growing form of transportation that is very drastically reducing the congestion in the nation. Next slide, please. So a part of my research, I did find that 36% of all trips are with the use of bicycles, and 25% of the road network is designated for bike use. So the total amount and the length of the roads a quarter of it is used for biking. And American transportation system is flawed. And we see that when comparing it to the Netherlands, because the average speed for a cyclist in Amsterdam is the same as the average speed of a car in a small town in America, making it way more easier to travel in the Netherlands through bike. Next slide, please. This is a map of a part of Europe, and the Netherlands is showing what you can see in purple is the bike lanes, and you can see it's very much used in the Netherlands. And in the next slide, you can see that it's isolated, and that is how congested it is, but it's very useful, and it is called the Dutch National Cycle Network, which can be used to access all the remote locations throughout the country. And the network of bike routes creates a more direct route for cyclists. Cycling lanes are designed to avoid traffic lights and keep cyclists moving. And next slide. I'm going to introduce Malik, and he's going to be talking about model highway traffic.
So yeah, we're going to talk about the two methods that the Netherlands use to reduce traffic congestion in the highway. Two of them are speed harmonization and the temporary shoulder use. Temporary shoulder use is a method to adapt roadway capacities to high traffic volumes on a temporary basis, mainly during morning rush hours and afternoon rush hours. We do have a version of it here in Boston. It's called the HOV lane. A lot of us are familiar with it on I-93 as you approach downtown. Boston is a specific lane designated to allow vehicles to travel at a much smoother pace. The target market for the temporary shoulder use is freeways, roadways experiencing congestions, and bus routes that experience significant travel delays. The benefits are mainly to postpone onset of congestions, increase vehicle volume, and transit service can be a lot more reliable with the use of the temporary shoulder. Now, speed harmonization, what it is a method to reduce congestions and to improve traffic mobility. And this method right here, it alerts drivers of impending lane closures and incidents. And target market for this is all areas where traffic congestion is prevalent. Benefit of speed harmonization is that it reduces the number of crashes, particularly rear-ended accidents. It increases the number of vehicle roadways can handle, and also it reduces bottleneck. Bottleneck is the number one cause of traffic congestions. And now I am going to pass over the next slide over to Jordan, and he's going to talk about improving road safety.
Thanks, Malik. So I'm going to be talking about improving the safety of roads. Road crashes kill millions of people every year worldwide in low, middle, and high-income countries. Many higher-income countries have made progress in reducing traffic fatalities and are reducing rates to over 90%. This presentation is going to highlight the methods and policies that were implemented by the Netherlands, which have helped them to improve the risk of fatalities for non-vehicle occupants by 5 to 8 times compared to the US. Now I'm just going to talk about some methods and policies that were implemented to improve road safety. So Smee's method was the first research on comparative international road safety, and it was conducted by him in 1949. In this study, he compared 20 developed countries to find a negative relationship between vehicle ownership. More recent studies show the significance of combining qualitative analysis with traditional quantitative analysis if there is to be progress in understanding the factors that create safety improvements. Understanding the factors that create traffic safety improvements. So based off the methods that were implemented to improve road safety, the takeaways and results that were gathered are the Netherlands' progress in road safety is largely based on improving the conditions for non-motorized road users. This result implies that struggling countries should focus more on promoting the safety of non-vehicular road users and addressing road safety needs and evaluating methods continuously. To see more progression in the US, some crucial steps include reinforcing the idea of shared responsibilities with all road users, vehicles, environments, and policies. Continued research focusing on the understanding of principles in the safe system approach and the implementation of pertinent measures from these principles will be beneficial for smooth transformation in the US. And I'm gonna have Mac now basically summarize what we talked about.
Yes, thank you, Jordan. And summary from this presentation we want to leave you guys all with is that we are bringing awareness to Lowell from the infrastructure and everything that the Netherlands has used. And we can we can use these methods that the Netherlands have to reduce traffic congestion. Those methods include speed harmonization, adding more bike-only lanes, more standardized data collection methods, and more safety policies on the roadways, all of which will give Lowell residents the peace of mind and, most importantly, fewer road-related casualties. Thank you.